Welcome back to Africa This Week. At a time where some of the world's biggest problems largely boils down to a lack of equity and equality, it remains difficult to thrive and survive as a young woman than anything else. From contending with social bias and patriarchal perceptions to bearing the brunt of a failed system with a broken smile, women in Africa continue to contribute to social, economic, and political development against all odds. Now, joining me to dig deep on Africa this week is Betty Abah, a gender activist and advocate and rights activist. Thanks for being here.
Thank you very much. My pleasure.
Now, what do you make of the plight and circumstances that women and girls often find themselves, especially in Africa?
I think that is a sad statement on our continent, and to some extent, Africa may have, a woman in Africa may have, maybe facing the biggest brunt of patriarchy and of very retrogressive cultures. But in every continent in the world, women have had to grapple with all sorts of cultures that tend to put them down. So it's not really peculiar to Africa, though Africa's home tend to be on another level altogether.
Exactly.
And it's something that really should be looked into. And I'm really happy that we've made progress over the years. I don't want to be very pessimistic. We've made progress. There's still so much to do. Like the Secretary General of the United Nations would say, as part of his speech marking this year's International Day of Women, he said, achieving gender equality and empowering women and girls continue to remain the biggest challenge of our time. It's the unfinished business of our time. That's why we're here. That's why we're making a lot of noise.
Why is it so much of a challenge?
It's so much of a challenge. For instance, you would expect that a Nigerian senator who to some extent is educated, exposed, and ideally is in the Senate to protect the interests of women and girls, of everyone in his constituency, especially the weakest links, which are women and girls, will stand up in public to say very derogatory statements about women and girls, and then will make every effort to ensure that laws, bills, policies are put in place to empower women are not passed. So, and that has to do with culture, it has to do with religion, it has to do with socialization. And so we really have to, like they would say, break that ceiling and ensure that people are enlightened, because going to school does not necessarily guarantee education. That's what we've, or enlightenment, that's what we've discovered.
And so that's
why we just have to keep talking, keep harping on the point. And I would say that this year's theme says press for progress. So over time, we've discovered that we do not necessarily, as women's rights activists that want to achieve empowerment of women and girls, that want to break down some of these strongholds, hampering the growth of women.
And in pressing for progress,
to,
what are the things we really want? What do women really want?
That's exactly what I'm saying. In making our point, we don't have to really tear cloth for progress, insult for progress, quarrel for progress. We have to make intelligent discourse. We have to engage people intelligently. We have to push for policies that will change the plight of women. And what do women want? Women just want to be safe. Women want to be counted like every other human being. Women want to be given a place, a convenient atmosphere, environment to thrive like every other person. A woman shouldn't be seen as less of a human because she's a woman. A woman should not be seen as the one who kills her husband simply because the culture says either verbally or non-verbally that a woman becomes the first suspect when the husband dies. A woman should not be subjected to sexual violence and then we allow the culprits go free. A woman should be given opportunity of education like every other child in the family, because it's a good deal for everybody when a woman is educated. Everybody benefits. The family benefits. She has fewer children, healthier children. And then she brings extra income to the family, even to our own extended family. So an empowered woman, an encouraged woman, a thriving woman is good for everybody.
Well, some analysts have said that women's rights, the advocacy for women's rights, is a bit of an exaggeration. What's your take on that?
It's not a bit of an exaggeration. In fact, we should be celebrating Women's Day every single day, not just once in a year. We have to remind ourselves, we have to have a review of what has changed.
Yeah, but if you want to celebrate Women's Day every single day, then we should celebrate Men's Day every single day.
No, because women have a lot to catch up with. When you are in a marathon and the man, for instance, is 10 miles ahead, and the woman is just
and
starting.
you're playing catch
because
up.
people, you have to play catch up. Maybe when we get to that point that there's the global gender equality, we'll make less of this noise. Because there's so much to be done. There's so much to be done. Look at, in the last Senate, I think we had about 10 or so women in the Senate. Now we have 7. We are retrogressing. By the president's body language alone, you know that women don't have much at stake.
But whose fault is that? That's
It
because
is
a lot of
in the
women are not
pinnacle
going
of political. But you have to be allowed to. For instance,
nobody stops you.
No, for instance, in USA,
Yes.
USA is like the bastion of democracy, of enlightenment and all of that. But the populace have had issues electing a woman as president. So there's so many forces that come into play that mitigates the growth of women. Whether we like it or not, there's culture, there's socialization. People don't think that a woman should be head of an office, no matter how educated they are,
She is.
or that she should be president. How many have we had a woman as governor in this country? That elected governor, we've not had. Maybe one or two came as accidental governors, so to say. So we have to come to a point where we see a woman, not by her physique or by the way we are socialized to look at them as weaker links, but we have to see them as a human being with all the potentials like our male counterparts.
But isn't it ironical that in some areas women want to be described as the weaker sex, and then in other areas you want equality?
Yes, we should pity those women. They need help. They are not enlightened enough. They do not know about their right. And like I said earlier, we don't really have to insult or fight or do this thing. Intelligent discourse. Is there anything really that a man can do that a woman cannot do? There's absolutely nothing of such. And you do not really need parts of your body to do things. You need your brain. This is the era of intelligence, the era of technology. It's about brain. So
Indeed,
and each time a woman is given a chance, she proves herself, she excels.
Indeed.
So why don't we give more and more women a chance?
The opportunity.
Yes.
All right, now, and how much progress do you think women in Africa are making in reversing some of the practices that continue to limit their potentials and threaten their livelihood, so to speak?
I think we are making some progress. Maybe it's slow and steady.
In what areas?
Like, for instance, in the economy, in the economic sector, or commercial sector, you have more women as heads of bank, even in Nigeria, than ever before. You have in South Africa. In fact, in places like South Africa, Senegal, there's gender discrimination is almost zero. Because people have come to a certain the level that they think, no, what difference does it make? A woman can do absolutely anything a man can do. And in Nigeria, we're beginning to, women are beginning to take up positions in the economic sector. Women are beginning to take very vital decision-making position. But on the political scene, we are retrogressing. We are retrogressing because women in Nigeria do not have the support of the people at the hierarchy. To a very large extent, the kind of person you are, your personality reflects on your policies. It reflects on the goings on around your government. And the president is not someone that is very woman-friendly or thinks that women should be given a place. And he doesn't pretend about it. So we shouldn't be pretending about it. I know you are smiling now. You want to be friendly. But I'm an activist and I just have to shoot from the hip. Okay, so we really have to keep talking about these things so that we can have changes. I keep saying this. The first time the president went on a trip to US after he was elected, there was not a single man in the delegation.
Woman, you mean?
There was not a single woman in the delegation, yes. And so when they got to Washington, the social media became very hot, and in fact, it became ablaze and said, why is there no woman? The fact is that it didn't occur to the president or his men. It just didn't occur to them because to them, women should be in the kitchen. So, I mean, what are they doing in Washington? And then they have to push people, some women, staff of the Nigerian embassy, and say, oh, we saw a woman there. Some women were bent down, writing and all of that. Just to patch up, just to make up. But the fact is that we do not have a woman-friendly president. Maybe a few things have changed in the last 3 years, but there's still room for improvement.
For more change.
There's still room for improvement.
Okay. Now, in the midst of both progress, I mean, because we have made some progress, and setbacks, what is there to really celebrate as women?
There's so much to celebrate as a woman. Just on Facebook, a few days ago, someone said, Betty, you are a man in a woman's body. And I say, please, that's not a compliment. I'm proudly a woman. And I believe that a woman is God's masterpiece creation. A woman is God's masterpiece.
Brilliant.
A woman walks into the room and everybody turns. How many times have you been in a room and a man walks in and then people turn? That's how God made us to be. And so we've achieved a lot. Women have this natural gift of compassion. Women have this natural gift of intuition. And so when you put a woman in a place of authority, she makes a difference. And because we're coming from a peculiarly patriarchal background, women want to overprove themselves. And then they excel. So the more women you give chances to in every sector, the more the country achieves progress.
Very quickly now, because it will be remiss of me if I don't ask this question before we go. What can government do to address issues like violence against women and girls? Very quickly.
Yes. It's about enforcing the laws. We have all kinds of laws against on sexual violence, domestic violence, but they're not implemented. They are mostly on paper. If we can have them
inequality and pay disparity.
Yes, pay disparity. We have female genital mutilation. Yeah. But the laws are there, they've been passed, but they're just there as showpieces in the showcase. So if they can be implemented, just recently in Lagos, we have someone sentenced to, I think, about 35-year imprisonment for raping a minor. If all states can take this step and ensure that people that violate these laws, that make women's life unbearable, are punished, it will serve as a deterrence. They should be brought. So it's not just about putting up the law. It should be about enforcement. It's about showing the political will and ensure that women are protected. Because we need women for any society to progress.
What's the world without a woman?
Yes. So
Betty Abah, gender rights advocate and activist, thank you for joining me on Africa.
Thank you very much. And happy Women's Day in Arias.
International Women's Day.
Yes.
Indeed. Same to you.
Thank you.
Well, in a world where girls are taught to shrink themselves and ladies are forced to limit their ambitions, the key to national prosperity and sustainable development lies in the way women are treated in Africa. No doubt, fixing the pieces of the puzzle and pressing for progress would include challenging cultural bias and taking consistent actions to create an environment where every woman can thrive. I have been your guide, Fadisha Lashotingwameni. Thanks for watching and bye for now.